We are ready. Let's come onto our backs. And before you bend up the knees, just do a little assessment. First, just lift the head and look down at the feet. Do they roll out evenly? You can use your hands to lift your head, but just see how your legs flop. One may be rolling out more than the other. And that gives us some idea of what's going on in the hips. Is one knee lifted more than the other? That also talks about the hips. Everything talks about the hips. Now, as you then come to your sacrum, are your more weight towards the tailbone or towards the top of the sacrum? How much of the low back is lifted up? Can you drive a school bus under? Or can you not even squeeze a ribbon under? Does the floating ribs rest on the mat? If they don't, we get a little clue about the psoas. Maybe a little snug, as this is about where it starts. And if it's tight, part of the hip flexor complex, we're going to work on that today. It sort of jacks everything up. What about the shoulders? Do they rest evenly? Do you feel your shoulder blades even on both sides? And then the head. Did that come to rest evenly? And as always, if your chin pulls away from the chest, manually lift the head, slide the skull back. And that may be enough of an adjustment. But if it just sort of boinks right back again, slide a blanket under your head so that the back of the skull is resting, not the top of the head on the mat. And that way your neck is not congested. Now let's bend up the knees. Placing your feet is in an easy way, so there's very little effort in holding this position, sometimes called constructive rest position. With the hands on the lower belly. Now begin to just check in with your breath. As you breathe in and out, what does that feel like? Does the belly expand on the in-breath? And does it expand evenly? Fun fact, the right side of the diaphragm has to work harder because the liver needs to move when the diaphragm moves. And if the breath tends to be shallow, we just don't get full mobility. So I invite you to begin now to gently deepen the breath into your belly on the in-breath. And then exhale, just letting go. When we practice yoga, the three elements of breath, movement, and stillness, that's the whole ingredients list, and how we apply these in a balanced way is really what promotes both wellness, ease, and positive change. The practice of tapas from the niyas, the second limb. Conscious effort for positive change. Does the breath connect all the way down to the pubic bone? Is there a sense of gentle expansion of the sacrum, of the pelvis as you breathe in? So don't overbreathe, don't push, don't force. With back pain, especially with chronic back pain, Some research indicate that the diaphragm sort of only goes to maybe 2/3 of its full ability. So notice if you seem to be meeting a barrier. And if we strain against this barrier, that may just create more tension. Instead, just gently keep moving a little bit further, but don't go all Nike on it. Sense how your lumbar spine floats up with the in-breath and then settles back down with the out-breath. Gentle upward movement, floating down with the out-breath. Through this breathing, the diaphragmatic breath, we establish the connection between the diaphragm and the psoas. The psoas, as it attaches to each lumbar vertebrae, if that is stuck or contracted, then our hip mobility is limited and often strained. Now, as you inhale, gently arch your back. Feel the muscles contracting. And then exhale, flattening the back. Inhaling, gently arch. And exhale, flattening, hollowing out the belly. So if you feel your belly pushing up into your hands as you flatten, we are missing out on one of the greatest supporters in the core, the corset muscle, abdominis transversus. So invite there to be a sense of hollowing out on the flattening, in addition to drawing the pelvic floor upward. So now we're talking Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. Inhale, it all just relaxes. We arch. And exhale, flattening, engaging the pelvic floor, lower abdomen, letting it go. Let's do that one more time. And then letting that go. Slide your right leg out and let it flop. Just let it flop. Take a deep breath in and breathing all the way down into your right hip. Can you get it to relax a little bit more? I know you're going to have to push that liver down along with the whole bed. And sliding it back up. And we'll slide the left leg down. Let it flop. Now the psoas is in full position. We'll slide it back up. Let's do the right leg one more time, sliding it out. So don't lift your leg, don't lift, slide. Because lifting tells the quadriceps that it needs to join in, and then we got to sort that out too. So right now we just want the psoas. Sliding it up. Take the left out one more time. A muscle that is incapable of releasing is sort of losing first and sometimes second gear And whenever you have to move, you throw yourself right into forward. And eventually your clutch is going to give out. Let's slide it up. Put a little bit more juice on this one here. Draw your right knee in to the chest. So now full hip. Don't use your hands. Hands free. Very dangerous. Release the foot back down. Sliding it out. And relax. What's holding on? Can you sense? Are there muscles that are like, nope? Using the out breath. Slide the right leg up. Pull it in again. Stay on the right side. Pull the knee to the chest. Lower it back down. Slide it out again. This is an integral part of walking. And if you have to come into a full sprint, boy, you're going to need this one. Let's slide it up, draw it in one more time. So the act of nothing, the breath and stillness, is as integral as the movement itself. But I think we all have this idea of I must do something, and breath and stillness doesn't feel like I'm doing. But you are doing. Take a breath in and relax. Now sliding your left leg out and just take a moment and compare notes, feeling your left hip and your right hip. And the left hip, mine is saying, I want whatever that was, I want that too. So I'm going to bend up my right leg first. Slide my left leg up, draw it in. Release it to the floor, sliding it out. Take the breath in and out. And sometimes taking 2 breaths out. If you feel like nothing is really happening, I can't really connect, take an extra breath here. Sliding it up, draw the knee in. Releasing the heel, the foot down, sliding it out. How easy can you make this? When we teach our bodies that movement is easy, not hard. Let's do it one more time, sliding it up. Releasing it back out. When you're not using your body, is it still tense? If you can't stand straight, sit straight, if there is a little murmuring of pain and discomfort, yes, it's still tense. So teaching it, let's do it one more time. Teaching it to relax is going to be the first order of the day. Release, realign, strengthen, right? I love that protocol because it works. Now, once you stretch your left leg out, you take the breath, slide your right leg out also. Notice how your low back is resting now, how your hips is resting on the mat now. What changed? Maybe nothing, but maybe you need a smaller school bus to drive under the small of your back because the psoas has released a little bit. Let's inhale, take the arms up overhead. Full body stretch. We're going to play with Baxter today again. So as you exhale, let's hug the right knee in. Use your hands this time. Chin to chest. Inhale, take the knee to the side. Exhale, twist. And we've done this many times. Baxter promotes fluidity. Come back to center after the twist. Clasp the hands behind the thigh for the hamstring event. Exhale, hug the knee in. And inhale, full body stretch. And the element of the pelvis. Exhale, left side hugs it. Is water. So it's very fitting for fluidity and ease of movement. We can walk, we can run, we can dance, we can ski, we can do all of these things with ease. Pressing up again after the twist, we do the hamstring, hug the knee in, and inhale, full body stretch. See, that's so easy. Now let's take the arms out to the sides. Now it's going to be handless. So take a breath in, arch your back. Exhale, flattening. Draw the right knee in. Don't use your hands. Take it to the side. Exhale across, twisting. Inhaling back to center and stretch the leg. Exhale, hug the knee in, chin to chest. Inhale, releasing the leg back out. Left side. Inhale, arch. Exhale, flatten. Draw the left knee in. Take it to the side. Take it across. Inhaling back. Hamstring, stretch it up. And exhale, hug it to the chin. And releasing it back down. Let's do that again. Inhale, arch. And exhale, hug the knee in. Inhale to the side. So now we're working with our true mobility. Don't go any place where it's painful. Don't think more pain is gain. It's just more pain, more tension. Add the hamstring after the twist. Hug the knee in and take it out long. Left side, follow suit. Drawing in to the side. So we do abduction and adduction. Back to center. Hip flexion with the hamstring. And more flexion with knee to chest. And all the way out. I know you're thinking that feels so good. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to peek at you. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, hug the knee in. And head is down, take it to the side. Move in a way that's easy. Don't strain. Twisting. So now again, it's true. We're going to keep the knee high as you twist. Don't let it slide down. And hamstring stretch. Exhale, hug it back in, chin to chest. And inhale, stretch it out long. Inhale, arch first, and then exhale, flatten as you pull the knee in. Take it to the side, keep the knee high, and exhale, twist. Keep the knee high as you twist. Nice little glute event. Back to center for the hamstring. Take it to the sky. Exhale, hug the knee back in, and inhale all the way out. And pause. It's so easy, isn't it? Now, we know back scissors is the first one. The second one is just as fun, but we're going to start with our knees bent. And we're just going to go right into it without hands. Take a breath in and arch. Exhale, hug both knees to the chest, no hands. And then take a inhaling, exhale, twist. And inhale to center. And twist again to the other side. Back to center. Straighten the legs. Take the feet wide. Exhale. Knees back together. Bend the knees to the chest. And inhale, stretch, put the feet onto the floor. There we go. Inhale, let's arch. Exhale, flatten. Use your bandhas to pull the knees up. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to center. Twist to the left. Keep the knees together. Don't flop the legs down. Come up to center. Straighten the legs to the sky. And take it wide. Back together, hugging in. And inhale, feet to the floor. Slide the legs out. Relax. Now squeeze your left bun, your left cheek, your left tush, your left glute. And then let it go. Squeeze the right one. Let it go. Go back again, toggling back and forth. Contract. So we have the feedback from the mat. And then release. Contract the other side, release. Do they feel the same? Are they equally eager to support hip extension? If your glutes are not releasing completely in between, if they stay contracted, again, you're losing out on first and second gear. And contracted glutes will prevent you from your hip extension. So using your feedback from the floor, are your glutes completely flat now, completely released, or are they still contracted? Rolling over onto your right side. Bending up your left leg, just so it's a little easier to balance. You can use your left hand on the floor in front, so you can stay all the way up on your right side. Let your left leg just be on the floor, so there's a little bit of an adduction, a deduction. So I'm supporting my head, top leg is straight, bottom leg is bent up. I think I set the legs backwards, sorry. Just to make it easy to be on your side. So you are now in a straight line. So just check that you're not rolling forward, that your leg aligns with hip and shoulder, your top leg aligns with hip and shoulder. And then keeping your pelvis still, and you can use your hand if you're not sure. I can see my waistband on the screen. I can see some of y'all's waistbands. So that's going to be the guide as you lift your leg up. Don't lift the pelvis. It's a pure hip abduction, abduction. Lift the leg. If you begin to roll higher up on the hip, you've added pelvis movement. So lifting and lowering. The foot stays parallel to the ground. So notice if you're doing a rotation of your leg, Joyce, notice if you're doing a leg rotation. Keep drawing the tailbone down towards your heels. And now lifting again. So the toes are pointing in the same direction as your nose. Toes and nose, same direction. And then keeping the leg parallel to the ground. And then dial your thigh upwards. So now the toes will be pointing up towards the sky, and your gluteus medius and piriformis are now helping out. Did you roll more onto the back of your hips? Are you still staying still on the hips? Let's roll the foot down. Staying at the same point on your left hip. So notice if that's rocking back and forth, just roll your leg up and down. It's quite easy. When we take it back to neutral, take your leg behind you. Take the leg behind you. The glute has to do that and the hamstring, but prefer the glutes do that first. The leg is still straight. Top leg is straight. You only have about 10, 15 degrees of back mobility without the pelvis having to join out. Now, when you take the leg forward, that's your hip flexion, you have, at least in theory, 90 degrees. Let's take the leg out long again. And now lift it again, but take your hip up with it. So now your side chest begins to engage. You're not taking the leg forward, or if your leg drifts forward in a different plane, something's going on in the hip. So it goes straight up, and now the pelvis moves along with it. So that one more time, lift the whole side and take the leg all the way to the floor. And take your left arm overhead, stretch. So your top leg is straight back, not out in front, it's straight down like an arrow. So now we're getting the outer hip event. And let's roll over onto the back. And just pause. Notice your left hip, glute, waist. How did that change from doing this work? Maybe it lay a little flatter. Maybe there was no change at all. All right, let's roll over onto the left side. And again, position yourself so you are anatomically straight. Heel, hip, shoulder, head, as if you were in mountain pose on your side. And sometimes you just look up, yep, there it is. Support your head so it's not hanging and dangling. It can be on your arm, a blanket, a pillow. And then again, mark the spot with your left hip. Where's it touching the floor? That's the greater trochanter. Don't let that dot change as you lift your right leg, lifting and lowering. This is pure abduction. And they say, I have to look at my numbers, 30 to 50 degrees of adduction, but we only have 20 to 30 of adduction going inward. So not as much as going out. Now here, holding the leg about parallel to the ground, we're going to make the glutes work a little harder here. And we're going to add the rotation. Rotate the leg. Don't over-rotate the foot. Rotate from the thigh bone. When we add more rotation through the ankle than what the hip is capable of, the knee has to make an unfortunate accommodation. It will, but you're going to like it. How does that feel compared to the first side? Is it easy? Is it hard? And I got voice. So I just got a blank screen there all of a sudden. I got a little panicky. But we're back and I see you still working. So the last one, the one that I realized I skipped, was lifting the leg, but now let the pelvis move with the leg. And you will find that you get more height. So it's a nifty little addition. But then let's add the full stretch, full stretch. This is what we do in Konasana, side angle pose, when we reach from the back heel all the way forward through the hands, opening the lateral side of the body, creating space. And then let's come on to the belly. And just stack one hand on top of the other, forehead onto the hands, and let your heels just flop out to the sides. Now we're going to talk to the glutes again, the biggest muscle in your body. So it wasn't put there for size-wise just to have a size. It's a true workhorse of the pelvis, of the hips. So I invite you now to contract the glutes. And notice what happens. What are the jobs? Releasing the glutes. What happens when you relax them? Relax, engage again, squeeze the buns. Do your heels roll in towards one another? Or do they just stay flopping out to the side? You might need to reteach that. Contract the glutes so they are also part of hip rotation. In addition to, so wait, there's more. When you contract the glutes, it draws the pelvis down. So it helps tilt the pelvis. It helps protect the back in back bending. It helps protect the back when we walk. Let's do that one more time. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze them in. Heels pulls in towards the midline. Tailbone draws down towards the heels. The glute says, check, got it. Now, take the hands by the side chest. Roll the shoulders up and down the back. And then inhale, lift the legs. Lift the heart. A flying cobra, flying serpent pose. And exhale, lowering down. I'm going to ask you a question. What happened first? Did the hamstrings fire first or did the glutes fire first? Hopefully the glutes fired first. Good. So if you're not sure, here's a little way to check. Lift your legs without lifting them. So almost lift. Where are you feeling this? In the hamstrings or in the glutes? If it's the hamstrings, retrain your glutes. Checking in, then the hamstrings pulls the leg up. Let's lift back up into flying cobra again. Lift the legs, and use the glutes. It is a glorious pose. Let the legs come down and we come up into cobra pose. And Margie, you may just want to not come up so high so that your hands are not as, doesn't have too much pressure. From here, let's draw back to puppy pose. Puppy pose. Stretch the hips back. Stretch the glutes. And then inhaling our high cobra. Back and forth. Here, another one that can protect the wrist is doing fists. And then there's no pressure on the palms. Drawing back, puppy. Inhaling up into tall cobra. Back and forth. And then we'll, here, we need to move the blanket out of the way because downward facing dog is not happy on a blanket. It's all too slidey. And Margie, you might like to use a chair for downward facing dog or a wall. Again, that will minimize the pressure on your hand. So as you draw into downward facing dog, coming forward to plank pose, measuring the stance. And in plank pose, it's the front body that's contracted. Not a back bend, there's no extension, so I don't have to use the glutes super hard here. You can let them relax, but not the lower abdomen. Now exhale, back to downward facing dog. Now you really want to let the glutes relax. So bending the knees and drawing back. Drawing back. And Margie, there's also forms for dolphin pose. Lift the hips, lifting the hips. You like to take your dog for a little walk? I am not opposed. Sometimes that just feels really good. But let the head hang. And then we'll transition. We'll step the feet forward. If you're in dolphin pose, take the knees down first. And then step the feet forward. Hands to the hips. And inhale all the way up. So far, so good. Tadasana, mountain pose. Remember, a few weeks ago, we had the straps around the heels from behind and we bent the knees a little bit. So let's just pretend strapped today with the feet close together. Now take a breath in and exhale. Press into the heels, straightening the knees. Let the heart lift. Let the heart lift. So for most of us, our pelvis is in a little bit in the anterior tilt, is pulling forward. So using the glutes to help draw the tailbone down towards the heels as you ground through the heels may be beneficial. Standing tall, standing grounded. And playing with Baxter a little bit more standing. It is a great balance sequence. We'll use the hands, first go around. And yes, if balance is a little chatty, a chair, a wall is a nice way to support the balance. And you don't have to lift so super high either. Now let's inhale, take the arms out and up. Exhale, hugging the right knee to the chest. So I'll use my arms on the first go. Inhale to the side. Exhale across. Back to center. Clasp the hands below. Straighten the leg. Hug the knee in. And bam. Other side. Exhale. Left leg. Inhale to the side. And twist. Back to center. Hamstring. And hugging back in. And full body stretch. And hands down. See, that was easy, right? Balance is about how our brain negotiates the information from our feet, knees, hips, spine. But it's also about the stability that is there, what we are connecting to and not connecting to. So when we do the balance work, it's all about the standing leg, getting well grounded and not be too fearful. Remember, you can make this as small or as big as you want. Just take your hands to the hips. And now we'll do it again. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, draw your right leg up. Take it to the side. Take it across. And whoo-hoo. Coming back to center. Straighten the leg out. And pull it back in and down. Left side, on the out breath, take the knee up, take it out, take it across, back to center and straighten, hugging it in and stand. How much else is negotiating? How much are you using your jaw to do this? So that was the first one. Now let's do the second one. Both knees up. I'm just kidding. We are going to do warrior one instead. Let's take our blocks, place them about a third way down your mat. And stand between them. Now inhale, take the arms out and up. Exhale, take the knee up again like we just did in Baxter. Draw the knee up, my hands are down. I'm going to step the leg back into my lunge. And then inhale, take the arms up. Reaching up. So the high lunge, the only difference between the high lunge and warrior one is the rotation of the leg. So let's sort that out. Take your hands down to the blocks. Move them forward so they're at the top of the mat. And then lift up into a three-legged table. It's like a half a warrior three pose. Standing tabletop. Now rotate your right leg out. The whole leg. About maybe 10, 15 degrees. Bend your left leg. Bend the left knee and land the right leg back. In this position. Inhaling up again. For a proud warrior one stance. Facing the front of your mat. And feel free to adjust your legs if they landed too short. And we'll take the hands back down again to the blocks. Lift the back heel, lift the back leg. Bend your left leg again, a wee bit. Can you get the right leg up a little higher? Not the hip. So the hips are parallel to the ground, toes are pointing straight down, straight down. Now fire up your left hip. Ground the left heel, ground the left heel. I know. Now your hips are working nicely. Let your crown, the crown of the head reach away from the back heel and take the leg down. Forward fold. Stretch the glutes. They just work very hard. Let them peacock all the way up. Let's inhale, half forward fold. Bend the knees. And take the arms out and up. We're back in Tadasana. And we're ready to step back on the other side. Take your left leg up, knee up, and then step it back. Negotiating the hip mobility. We're back in warrior, not warrior, lunge. The arms can be up, the arms can be down. We're gonna have a look-see at you. Is it a happy lunge? Back leg is straight, the glute is engaged. That's what straightens the back leg. Front knee bends as much as the hip flexors will allow. And your front knee glute is not on. So only one glute turned on. And let's bow down. Find the blocks with the hands again. And come into our three-legged event. Lifting left leg up. Bend the right knee, but really compact the outer right hip. Lift the leg. Straighten the standing leg as you dial the leg out, dialing it out. So the reason I have you on mat is to bend and straighten that standing leg is sometimes we get a little bit more access to the outer glute, the stabilizers. Dial the leg out, landed back for warrior one pose this time. So back foot is now turned in, or rather out, 10, 15 degree-ish. Not a big, so that the front body is still pointing forward, nose and belly button towards the top of the mat. Hands can be on the hips, hands can be to the sky. Breath and stillness. What is this pose communicating today? And reaching your hands down towards the blocks again. Launch yourself into warrior three stance. Blocks under the shoulders. Lift the back leg high. And again, Margie, you can have both forearms on the chair instead of using. Now, as you lift your back leg up, bend your right leg a little bit again. Look at your back toes. Are they pointing straight down? Are they pointing straight down? Drop the hip, drop the left hip, but lift the leg. Drop the hip, lift the leg. Drop the hip, lift the leg. I know, straighten the standing leg. Firm. And exhale, release it down. Forward fold again. Forward fold, feet together. That was good work. That's hard work, I know. Inhale, looking up. And we're going to walk back to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, that can also be dolphin pose. I think actually let's all just do dolphin pose. That's a good pose. Bring the forearms down onto the mat. Like the Marines, we leave nobody behind. Lift the hips. Step the feet close together. Stepping the feet close together. So keeping the shoulders back from the elbows. Don't let them travel forward. Now, let's take the right leg to the sky. Exact same thing that we just did. Keep the toes pointing straight down. So Ekapada, dolphin. Keep the knee straight, knee straight, knee straight, knee straight, knee straight, and take it down. Forearm plank, just so we can get a little breather. We have made it to the big firework finale. Let's walk the feet forward, back into dolphin. And we are ready to take the left leg up. Take the leg up. Lift from the glute. Lift from the glute. Let the hamstring help, but the glute is doing the job. And it is happy to be at work. And we take the foot down. And we come forward to forearm plank. Just one last one. One last one. Crown of the head lengthens away from the heels. Thighs are lifting, tailbones towards the heels. And then take the knees down and come onto your back. Happy baby pose. So on your back, draw the knees in, and then either hook the forearms behind the knees. If available, take your hands up, holding your feet like a happy baby. And rocking from side to side. So the knees are relaxing down towards the chest. And again, if the glutes are not releasing, the hip flexors can't contract all the way. There's a fence, there's a hurdle, there is a stop. So that may mean that the tennis ball massage is a really good thing to enjoy once in a while. Get the glutes to release. Now let's take the knees together and place the feet on the mat. Roll over onto one side, and we're going to set up for Supta Pada Konasana. Reclined, bound, angle pose. So take a blanket or a towel or bolster or pillow and fold it in your hot dog fold. So you're skinny. And then take a second blanket, but instead of a hot dog fold, fold that one in the hamburger fold. That's for the head. And then take your blocks, place them on each side of your mat. That's going to be for your knees. So I'm sitting a little bit in front of my blanket, so it's not all the way up against my sacrum. And I'm skipping the strap today, but if you have it all ready to go, go ahead and use it. But we are just going to come onto the back and setting up. Walk the heels in as close as comfortable for you. Bring the soles of the feet together. And let the blocks receive your knees. So the soles of the feet comes together, and then the knees come out. Now, it is very important as you just choose the height of your blocks that you don't feel any stretch in your inner groins. You want the blocks high enough where they meet your thighs, right where you go from release to forced stretching. This pose can feel really vulnerable, so covering it with a blanket is sometimes really comfortable. It does open up the whole digestive system and the pelvis. The pelvis is our emotional junk drawer at times. A little irritation, a little aggravation, a little disappointment. Get stuffed away here. So when we work on our hips, like we did today, you may find that emotions that seems to have nothing to do with what you're doing bubble up. You may also find that suddenly you don't like yoga, or you don't like me at all either. And just notice that that's a release from whatever. You don't need to know what it is. It fluffs out. Allow your hips to relax. Let go. As you invite the breath into the lower belly, into the hips. Notice if there are areas that struggle with letting go. Using your breath. Using your hands to draw your knees together and then slide your legs out long. And pause now in Salamba. Shavasana. Salamba means supported. Ease, spaciousness is the bedrock of vitality. And vigor. Tension and pain sucks the vitality right out of us. So tending to what ails as best as we can is what yoga aims to do. Allow your breath to deepen. Wiggling fingers and toes. Bending up your knees. Maybe rock your knees from side to side, or if your low back would like a little extra lengthening, hugging the knees in, but you need to come off your support first before you do that. Eventually, come onto your side and pause. Breath and stillness. And then adding movement, pushing up. Bringing our palms together at heart center. Closing with Om Shanti, 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 Om. Let's take a deep breath in. Om Shanti, 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 Om. Exhale and bow your head towards your heart. And all of you. And let's take the gaze up. Namaste.